visiting a good friend of mine. We started making biodiesel years ago. He's one of the first Appleseed customers I ever built, and this is his shop, and we're going to just kind of show you around and let him introduce you to his operation.
Okay. I bring the oil in here in barrels in the back of my truck, and I filter it through the filters into the barrels, at which point I take them and pump them into a tote. Makes it easier for loading the machine and stuff in the future, at which point I put the totes up above on a rack above my machine. So when it's time to fill the machine, I just pull the hose down, open the valve. It takes 3 minutes to put 100 gallons of oil into my BioPro 380, which processes that 100 gallons every 3 months, or every 2 hours, every 2 days, every 48 hours. Once it's processed and it's done, I pump it out into these barrels over here, at which point I allow it to settle, because it seems like for some reason you always get a little bit of settlement left in them. These will sit here for anywhere from a week to 2 weeks before I pump them through. When I do, I pump them into smaller barrels that are easier to handle out on the site, which I take out to my son's houses and things like that. It makes it a lot easier. The waste product, my glycerin, goes into these barrels here that are by the machine, and when they're full, I take them down to the water reclamation plant and they put it through their digester. That's the short and simple of the whole thing.
How many gallons of biodiesel do you have in here?
Well, each one of these are 55 gallons. Each one of these are 3, and there's 6 barrels here. So each pallet, I don't have 4 pallets that are finished of these already pumped, repumped and everything. Excuse me, at 180 gallons per pallet. There's 220 gallons on each one of these pallets down here waiting to be reprocessed. Not reprocessed, but refiltered. There's 275 gallons of oil in each tote. I've got quite a bit. A lot of these other barrels and stuff that are around are just leftovers, because these do wear out. The paint comes off of them, as you can see, or you just dispose of them at some point. I have had actually some of them, by rubbing them on the ground, dragging them so much when they're full, wear the bottoms out and leak, so I replace the barrels once in a while, and this is just my stockpile from the guy that I got them from. My kids have decided they can store some of their stuff in here too, so this has become a big storage unit for me.
What trucks do you run this biodiesel in?
I have 4 Duramax Diesels.
What years are they?
05, 06, an 04, and an 07. 4, 5, 6, and 7. And then I've got an International that I run it in. I have a Volkswagen Jetta. My daughter, she runs it in that. I have a few friends that drive Fords and Dodges, and every once in a while they can get some and put some in theirs.
You had any problems with your trucks with biodiesel?
Just fuel filters. And once I started doing this, we went back to changing our filters probably every year and a half, instead of every 6 to 8 weeks.
What's this truck that you've got here?
This is the 07. It right now currently has 102,000 miles on it. We bought it brand new. It had 250 miles on it, because they brought it down from Idaho for us to the dealership, so we actually bought it brand new. It has probably had the equivalency of maybe 4 tanks of regular diesel fuel in it. The rest of it's all been 100% biodiesel that I've made.
One thing to note too on this 07 is this is a pre-emissions 07.
Yes.
This doesn't have the diesel particulate filter on it, so you're able to still run biodiesel in it.
Yes.
And once again, proves that biodiesel works in even newer trucks without the DPFs on them. The Duramaxes have been really reliable for you too. You haven't had any issues at all, have you?
I used to have a Dodge. Couldn't wait to get rid of it.
I've been amazed and impressed with how well it's done in all your diesels. And the majority of them have been Duramax, if I remember right.
Yes.
And I think you had an 01 and an 02 at one point. And
I did have an 01. As far as I know, it's still on the road. The guy bought it because he makes biodiesel on his own as well. And as far as I know, it's still running.
So there you go, guys. You can make biodiesel for several years, run them in diesel trucks, and if it's done right, works really well. It's also a testament to the BioPro over here you've got. This is actually an older BioPro, but it still runs really well, doesn't it?
Yes.
And you've had a couple BioPros. Before you did the BioPro, tell them about how we made biodiesel and how long it took you and what it is now.
When I first started, I used an Appleseed processor.
A big monstrous one too.
Well, we took two 50-gallon water heaters and hooked them in together, and so I could actually make two separate batches at the same time. And then I also had 4 wash tanks. I pushed the envelope one week and made 330 gallons of biodiesel in that. It took me from sun up till going to bed a lot of hands-on time to do it.
You're married to the thing.
I basically was married to it. Still made a big mess out of my garage. My wife wasn't real happy with it. Eventually, I moved into a commercial building, switched over to the BioPro, which is automatic. I come in here now, and on the day I start making a batch, it takes me about 20 minutes to drain out the finished product, less than 5 minutes to refill it and turn it on to heat, and then while I'm playing around filtering oil or collecting oil or doing something else, I allow it to heat up, and then I mix up my methoxide and add to it, push the buttons, and it does its own thing. Come back the next morning, I drain the water out of it and start the wash cycle. I'm here maybe a half an hour and leave and come back the next day, and I got another 100 gallons of finished fuel.
So definitely worth the time or worth the money to get them?
If you have more time than money, then definitely do the oils, the Appleseed type, the water heater type. But if you've got more money than time, this is definitely the way to go. They're a lot more expensive than an Appleseed, but when you don't have the time to dedicate for it, it's great. I mean, this thing here, I can easily make 300 gallons a week.
Which is awesome because it keeps the trucks running. And that's one of the reasons you got into biodiesel in the first place, is because you've got so many trucks and you got to feed them all fuel. So, well, that's great. Well, we've done a lot of work with Kevin over the years and really have enjoyed it, and thought all of you would kind of like to see what you can do when you put your mind to it to make a lot of biodiesel. Thanks for watching.